Hi guys, and welcome to another video. And today I've got a drum video, and I've got a great new drum to share with you. If you're on my Instagram and Facebook, you've probably seen this already. But I decided to buy myself a little treat after the Susie Sue tour. And though saying that, I've bought myself a little drummy treat earlier this year as well, which I still have to share with you. But anyway, so I went to the fantastic Drum Attic in Frome, run by Tristan Head. Who's a great guy. It's a great shop. I've waxed lyrical about this many times. If you're in the area around the Bath, Bristol, Southwest area, Andover, Salisbury, whatever, go up and see him. It's brilliant. He's got some newish gear, but it's mostly vintage and sort of quirky percussion stuff and second-hand stuff, third-hand stuff. And it's just amazing. And he's got a drum studio there now as well, where if you want to go and remotely record drums, you can go and do that. Or if you want to teach in that room and things like that. So yeah, it's a multi-purpose facility for drummers. And in this day and age, as us drummers know, there's hardly any drum shops left that aren't part of a PMT or part of another music shop selling pianos and guitars and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this is good that this is a specialist drum store. And Tristan knows his onions. He knows all about the kits and the history of the kits and so on. So anyway, so I decided to leave. I was staying in locally to Frome, kind of house sitting with my girlfriend. So I shot off to Drum Attic, and I think she knew I was going to buy a drum anyway, which is totally cool. But she had a feeling I was going to get something. Anyway, so I go in there, and I had to settle up with a few other things, you know, and we talked some business about maybe putting on some events there at the drum studio, which we'll share with you very soon, I think. And just before I left, I checked to see if he still had this really lovely Slingerland light that would have been for drum stores to put up, you know. It wasn't a neon light, it was just kind of about this size, with Slingerland written across it, and I think it was either purple or light pink writing or whatever, and you plug it in and it just lights up, and it wasn't, you know, it sounds like it could be a bit nasty, but it was really nice. And it was only about 30 quid, and when I was on tour, I thought, I'm going to go and pick that up. And instead of messaging him and saying, put it to one side, I left it. So, of course, I go to the shop. He was serving some other people. This is by appointment only, and they'd shown up and stuff, and they're looking around. And I was wondering about looking for it, thinking it's not where it used to be, and it's not over there. And anyway, it turns out that he'd sold it. So I lost my chance to get this thing, because I think it would look great somewhere in the flat or at the studio. I thought it'd be cool. Anyway, the other thing I did notice on his website was a new drum. Now, this drum isn't something that I would normally go for. I've recorded with this range once before with a French singer called Michel Polnareff, where we were recording over in Belgium. I can't recall the studio's name, but you know, it's like a residential studio. You know, they've got a chef there and everything. Obviously apartments, hence it's residential. And they've got a massive store full of any drum kit you could want. You know, Gretsch, different Gretsches from different years, different Ludwigs, Premiers, Yamaha, Sonor, Leedy, you know. They even had one of those funny kits which come out, I think they're acrylic, and they come out with, you know, they look like tubes. They're really sort of weird looking things. I can't remember what they're called now. But yeah, they had one of those as well up on display that you could use, and loads of cymbals. So literally when you record it, you could say, I need like a mid-60s Ludwig, and they go, aha, like this. Yeah, just like that. And they brought one of these kits out, and I recorded with it. We had some DW rack toms. The bass drum was this certain range, and the two floor toms, 16 and 18, with this certain range. And that range of drums was called Vistalite, which was made by Ludwig Drum Company. I know other companies have made them, but Ludwig made them famous, and I believe they're remaking them as well. And of course, you know, we can't talk about Vistalite without talking about John Bonham, and he made them famous. I think he had an orange one famously in the movie The Song Remains the Same. I think he may have had a blue one as well. You know, but people that watch my site, I'm not the biggest John Bonham fan. Obviously, I rate him, amazing drummer, and I've taken stuff from him, and I'm sure I will continue in the future to take ideas from him. But Ian Pace was my favourite drummer at that time, who also was a Ludwig drummer. And Deep Purple were my favourite band of that era. If we're looking at Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, you know, the Holy Trinity, I'll always go for Deep Purple every time. But anyway, so yeah, a semi-love of it through Bonham, you know, but not massively. So I go in there, and before I left, I thought twice about it, and I said, look, can I just try that snare drum? And people that know me quite well, they know I love vintage gear. They know I love wood stain gear, sparkle wraps, white marine pearl wraps, burgundy sparkles, sky blue pearls, all the sort of classic finishes, which all the drum companies are still remaking now. But this drum, I would normally think it was a bit cheesy, maybe, just a bit showy and a bit glam, and not really something I'll take seriously. So of course, when Tristan, who's known me for about 20 years, saw me pick this thing up, he was like, what? Rob Bryan going for this? But anyway, enough of that. Let me show you this bad boy. Here it comes. Ooh. So what Tristan tells me is this is a 1977 Ludwig Vistalite Tivoli Tequila Sunrise snare drum. Now, as I recall from some books, and I haven't done much research for this, you guys can write to me and stuff, but I've got Ludwig books, so I could find this out. But I think the Tivoli had lights in, like party lights all the way around here, and you plug them in, and this hasn't got the lights or the connection point to put them in. So obviously they still did the finish, but without the lights. And it's also called Tequila Sunrise because of, obviously because of the colour and stuff. And it's just lovely. I mean, in this light, you can't really tell how lovely the red is, or the yellow, or the orange, but it's just a beautiful drum. And it's got this muffler, which has got a beautiful action. For us drum nerds out there, it's so smooth, doesn't make any noise, really firm, really good. Better than the old baseball bats, really, obviously. And there's some slight cracking in the shell, which I don't think, can you see that on camera? Not really. Oh yeah, kind of. But it's okay. And the Ludwig's missing on the strainer, but I don't mind. Now I had an Evans head on the top, which I took off and put on my normal sort of Remo Ambassador, and that actually changed the sound completely. Not in a good or bad way, it was just more my sound. And I put it on a stand. He had like a marching, he had a classical snare drum stand. Of course, it's for a classical player who has to stand up very high because he or she may be playing the snare drum, then off to the glockenspiel, then off to the timpani. So, it's up here somewhere. So I put it on there and I thought, here we go. I'm not even going to tune it. I'm just going to hit it. And I played it and it was just the most incredible, almost undescribable kind of sound, because it had a third that made it sound deeper than it actually was. And I think it was tuned mid to high at that time, as we just put the head on and just randomly did it up. I didn't fine tune it. I just put it on fairly high and then boosh. But it had an amazing crack with it, which you don't really get with wood or the steel shell drums or whatever. I've got a 400, and of course I've got that Jugs drum, as well as my jazz festivals and student festivals and student model drums, which are all wood, obviously. Yeah, and it just wasn't that kind, and of course my DWs, but it wasn't that sort of sound. So then I took the key and I took it up, and when he went up, the rim shots, we lost a nice sort of rim shot sound. They didn't have as much crack, but again, it's got this third, which has to be the shell of the Vista, like the plastic. It gives it that character. And I was really starting to think, this is something that I was, in a way, thinking, that's not, it's okay, but I'll leave that for, tribute bands or so, I don't know, something who wants to use that, who needs it for that kind of gig, that sound. But I thought, with all the snares I've got from a studio, I've got nothing that sounds like this. And I was thinking of Charlie Jones and Stuart Bruce and Phil Andrews and also John Bucket, all engineers and studio owners who are also musicians as well, who I record with, and Cameron Jenkins as well. Get well soon, Cam. I know if I brought this along with my DWs and my 400 and the student model, my Jugs one, and this, they'd be like, oh my God, let's give this a go. And, I don't think it's a one-trick pony. That wouldn't be fair. Rim click is lovely on it. Rim shots are nice mid to low tuning. It's got a real rude kind of buckety sound when it gets lower and you put on the muffler. And I didn't even have to put any more moon gel on at that point. But as it goes lower, trying to get it to sound like a low-tuned Linn drum or something, if you wanted to do something more kind of 80s or rock sounding with it like that, wouldn't really do it, but that's okay. You know, I never bought this to be jack of all trades. It was lovely with brushes. You know, it's got a really great sound with brushes. When you sort of rim shot and sort of play hard with the brushes, it responded in a much nicer way than a wood shell or steel shell, actually. And people who play brushes a lot and you hit the rim shot, you know you're not going to get a rim shot, but you play there just a bit more power. And it's got a certain sound. It didn't just go pang, you know, because again, because of the plastic, it's got more of a thud. Incredible. I mean, if you want to put some descriptions of what you think below about the drum, because both me and Tristan were like, it's a thud, it's got a whack, a thwack. It was like watching an episode of Batman when they're saying thwack, sock, biff, boof. Amazing. And I took it out of the snare drum room because obviously there's like 100 other snares in there going wah at the same time. I put it in the hallway of the shop. I put it in the kitchen of the shop, the bathroom, the studio. I took it all around the shop, both of us, into his office, and it still sounded great wherever we were. It sounded really amazing with the other snares reacting with it. That was just insane. One day I might have to take a microphone and record that. But yeah, so this is it. What a beauty. And it was sort of 400 of the King's pounds, which, you know, I don't think is that expensive for something like this. I mean, they make new ones like this for 600-700, I think, which is fine. The materials might be better now. But again, I'm a vintage fan. I was born in 1970, so it doesn't quite add up. This is 1977, so I was 7 when this was made, but still. But it's just a cracking drum. And I used it on a blues rock gig. I bought it on the Friday. On the Saturday, I was gigging it, and it sounded great. I had my trusty DW 14x7 down by my side in case I wanted to change it. And I kept this on because it sounded great. And I didn't rim shot on that gig. I played straight in the middle. But it was tuned nicely and had that thuddy, buckety thing going on. And the rim shot didn't really do justice, didn't really need it. So anyway, so there it is. So if you have any questions about this, or you've got one, or you've got the whole kit, or you've had one, or this used to be yours even, then leave some comments below or email me. You can email me here, and leave some comments below. And if you like them, if you don't like them, I mean, I'm in love with this at the moment. You know, maybe in 10 years, I won't be quite as in love with it, or I would have used it to its full potential and that would kind of be that. But for the moment, I love this being part of my snare drum collection. As I say, with my Slingerlands, student models, the Jug snare drum, which is great, the 400 and the Jazz Festival, and my two DW snares, it just sits as something very, very different that I could take to a session and say, let's record with this. So thank you for tuning in. As I say, leave comments below, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing with other people. All you Susie fans that are writing to me, I'll dig that. That's great. Keep going with that. And any Ludwig fans with any details about this drum, as I say, please let me know. Take care. This has been a video that's long coming. I bought it last week. I should have done it on Tuesday, but hey, this is here for the Friday, so it's all good. So have a great weekend, guys. If you're gigging, have a good one, and I'll catch up with you next week. Cheers. Bye.